the framework I said is these people are stuck where they are.
Right.
And my job is to help them get unstuck.
That's it.
And that was my clarity. And that's why I think when I landed on the Unstuck Sessions, that's where it came, because it's not a one-time event. It requires multiple sessions to actually get you unstuck, because a lot of times we don't necessarily really quite understand what the thing that's holding us back from success is. We think we have an idea, but sometimes it's kind of the sub boss. Like if you play video games, there's the boss, there's the
There's Guru
yeah,
Guru instead of Shang Tzu. Yeah.
yeah. And so you have the sub boss, but it's not really the boss. And we focus all of our energy on defeating the sub boss. But when we get to the boss beats our ass, because we're not really locked in terms of, we didn't necessarily cleanly address the real underlying problem that is holding us up. And oftentimes, that if you remove that one thing, if you're able to identify it and remove that one thing, it can remove a whole lot of other problems that you're experiencing.
Right.
But that's where the concept of the Unstuck Sessions came from. I help people get unstuck from where they are. And sometimes it requires a shift in perspective. Sometimes it just requires really having somebody hyping you up and telling you what your skill sets actually are and giving you a framework to deploy them in the right way so you could start advancing. And so that's what it is. And then I'm like, well, what's the thing that has me stuck? Well, a lot of times it was different things with my ADHD had me stuck. And so I had to learn and teach myself an entire set of skills to get to where I am now. And so I'm like, if it's valuable to me, it got me here, maybe somebody else will see some value in it.
Right.
And so that's the entire concept of it. And so that's what my goal is, working with new entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs with ADHD and helping them figure out how to get themselves unstuck and get them moving forward. And that's how I came up with my clarity of it. And that's it hits the clarity. For me, I feel like it helps the impact because it gets them moving forward. And I feel like there's authenticity to it, because you're not gonna get anything but me. Like, you're not gonna get anything but me with, if we work together. So I feel that. I like that.
So what about the other ones? I'll let
So
you take these ones.
okay. So mission versus values. Quick breakdown of the difference. So your mission statement is where you're going. I feel like your value statements are the principles that you use while you're going that route. Like, okay, say your mission is to get $1 million, right? Now, that's fine. You have a mission of doing that, if that's what your mission is, okay? But your values are the things that determine whether you're going to get that $1 million by building a business or building a product or finding some way to save that up, or if you're going to go rob a bank. Like if you're going to go knock over a casino. And so your values kind of determine how you execute things along the way to achieve your mission. And your values kind of determine really who you are and what you're willing to deal with, do, or endure on the way to fulfilling your mission. That's how I determine mission versus values side of it. Because I do feel like sometimes people have these big mission statements, but they don't necessarily have a moral anchor to pin them down to a specific prescribed set of values. They'll do anything. And sometimes it's okay to do anything as long as it's not hurting other people. But it is what it is.
Right, of course.
And then how do all these work together? I just kind of mentioned that. Your values define what you're going to do in order to fulfill your mission.
Okay. So let me ask you, like, how would something like this work in, let's say that somebody's doing a bakery or somebody bakes goods.
Right.
What would you tell them based on this information? Like pertaining to their mission statement, their values, whatever. What would you explain to them? What would you give to them? Because we have a person that does watch our show.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll call me up and ask me all these questions or whatever. So
okay.
Well, what's one of the things that that you would say to her, and then I would, kind of give my thing too.
Okay, so why a bakery? Why did you choose to bake goods? What is
Right.
it about the process of baking goods that made you say, okay, I like doing this enough that I want to build a business around it and share my baked goods with the world? What do you what does that do for you internally? You know, because a lot of times, people will buy restaurants just to have them, right? But a bakery is a little bit more of a personal thing. It requires art. It requires um, a lot of focus and repetition and dedication and care and concern and stuff. And so for me, I would ask the first question I would ask is, why did you start this journey? What about baked goods compelled you to want to share this with the world? Do you like the idea of improving people's day by offering them something sweet or savory or some flaky bread that's warm and stuff like that? Like, what is it that inspires you to do this all? What drove
Right.
you to this? And then what is the thing that makes your bakery unique? Your
Right.
specific way unique, and then kind of reverse engineer it. So and this is kind of a copywriting thing. Like, this is what I would do in my diagnostic copywriting interview to gain a voice of the business. Who are your clients? Who's your favorite client? What's their name? What do they do? Who's your best client? What are the commonalities between that? And what was your reason for doing this? Why did you
Right.
start this? Because if it's just to make money, that makes it a little bit harder. So we need to have an underlying reason of why specifically uh, we're doing this thing. Why is this your labor of love? What makes this? What feeling does? What feeling does? And I don't know, you said bakery. I don't know, let's say, what feeling do you get from um, somebody enjoying what you baked? What does that do for you internally? And why did you want to do it at scale?
Right.
Am I making sense here?
Hell yeah, you are.
Those are the questions I would ask first. And then I would determine, okay, so we've kind of determined what why I want to what feeling I get out of it and what I want to do. Okay?
Right.
So now we start building words around those feelings that we want to provide to people. Okay? You know, brighten somebody's day with a pastry. You know, it's a simple thing that you can do to brighten somebody's day. Simple delights.
Okay.
That's where you come. We provide simple delights. What do simple delights do for somebody's day? Well, even if they're having a bad day, it's something small that can make their day just a little bit better.
Hmm.
So we make your day a little bit better.
Gotcha. I like that.
When you buy one of our treats, we just want to make your day a little bit better. And then you can build an entire framework and brand around that. You know,
Okay.
and then you could come up with imagery. You could come up even little short videos. Doing a video, somebody's having a rough day, it's raining, they're going through all this stuff. When you have a bad day, you know how shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
And you just have a bad day and it kind of piles upon each other. But then they come into your bakery, get a pastry, and it makes them smile for the first time all day. So
That part.
you're not selling baked goods, you're selling smiles in a box.
Look at that, y'all. Smiles in the box.
And so that's one of the things, and that's how I would break it down. And so that's how I would determine, okay, so if that's your mission to provide smiles, you know, we sell smiles by the dozens.
We sell smiles by the dozens. All right, man. I hope that she's watching this because he's giving you some good stuff there, ma'am.
And so that's how I would break it down. I want more of those. I like that.